Facts versus fiction. How do we know what is the truth? And it's kind of hard to think about this, right? If you really think about it, right? How much of what you know is actually true, right? Let's just say you have some type of personal library, right? You have a bunch of books and you get your information from these books, right? How do you know the information found inside of these books is factual, right? It's not fictional. It wasn't just imaginary and made up by someone who wasn't really even caring about, seeing the truth. That's kind of this is what this video is about and stuff. Because it's not just about books, right? Any type of way, any form of, any way that you would educate yourself, right? Not just by reading books, but like by watching YouTube videos, right? YouTube. There's a lot of YouTube videos on the internet and stuff. How much of what you see is actually factual, right? The videos you see on YouTube. How do you know they're giving you the correct information, right? How do you know they're telling you the truth, so to speak, and stuff? The short answer to this question, right, is that you don't know, right? There is no, unless of course you yourself, right? You have access to all of the research relating to whatever topic you're studying on from YouTube and stuff. Or even research material can be faulty, right? The methodology used in that type of research, the way that that research material, the person who conducted that supposed research, right? His methodology could have been flawed. You don't know if he had a personal agenda or some type of bias, right? You can see very easily, right, that like a lot of our education is kind of it's based around fiction, right? Essentially, it's based around a lot of agendas and stuff, not really facts, not really truth, right? Well, what do I mean by all of this? Because I'm kind of all over the place. I want to kind of carefully kind of recollect my thoughts, right? You get, again, with the book example, right? Let's say you have a personal library, you have a bunch of books in this personal library, right? The amount of let's just say you read through all of those books, right? And you kind of memorize all of the information, right? That information, right? How do you know that's factual, right? Unless you know the personal authors, right? And then not only that, unless you know how they, those personal authors, where they got their inspiration from, for writing the information found in the books you were reading and stuff like that. Well, it goes so many steps backwards, right? In order that you would have to kind of investigate, right? So many different things just to make sure you're not getting duped and fooled, like a moron. And it's extremely tricky, right? Because again, let's just say you have a personal library, you have a collection of books, right? You don't know, let's just say you're not really big into looking at the background of the authors and stuff. You don't really research things deeply. So if you just bought those books because you thought they were interesting and they were informative and stuff and whatever, right? Those books, the information's contained in those books. The information contained in those books could be just kind of fabricated and made up. Let's just say you bought some type of book on dieting and stuff, and the person inside of that book, he says, oh, well, eating McDonald's isn't that bad, right? It's all about just the ratios and, the amount that you take in and stuff like that. You can eat McDonald's and you will still be healthy, right? And you read these statements inside of, let's just say this diet book that you bought, right? And you believe that these statements are factual and stuff. And so you continue eating at McDonald's, not realizing, right, that your health is deteriorating because you were duped and you were kind of, essentially tricked, I would say, or you were falsely led by this misinformation found inside of that dieting book that you buy, supposedly according to this example I'm using, right? And you can see this is kind of a big issue, right? Being able to discern facts from fiction is crucial, right? Making sure you're dealing with reality and not just being duped and fooled and tricked. Again, turned into a kind of, sort of like it's kind of, essentially you don't want to be stupid and a moron, right? You don't want to be just turned into some type of person, right? That doesn't have any type of critical thinking. So, to bring it all the way back, right? Facts versus fiction, right? Again, that example of the dieting book, right? It says that you can eat at McDonald's, nothing's gonna happen to you. So, yeah, but in reality, right, your health would be deteriorating, and you wouldn't even be kind of realizing it. because you would be kind of under this false impression. You'd have this wrong idea inside of your head that it doesn't matter. You can eat at McDonald's, you can still stay healthy. It doesn't matter. It's all about the amount you eat and stuff. This wrong idea, this type of misinformation would literally destroy your life, right? And you can see why is it, this ability and this this skill of discerning facts from fiction is extremely crucial, right? Having good critical thinking skills, right? Being able to kind of see the truth, right? See the truth and not get tricked and led astray, so to speak. This is extremely important and stuff. That's just one example that I use, right? If you bought some dieting book and it gave you this type of misinformation, right, that you can eat whatever you want, it's just about the amount you put in your body. So, this type of misinformation would literally destroy your health. It's not just about dieting. Again, YouTube. You come across various different YouTube videos and stuff, right? But unless you have extremely proper knowledge, unless you have a well-rounded understanding on a variety of different topics, right? Let's just say you come across some type of video that is discussing some type of, political topic or some type of, maybe not politics, but, something, I don't know, it's kind of, something I guess to do with science or whatever and stuff. And you just how are you supposed to know anything in that video is factual, right? Unless you yourself, unless you went through a lot of a rigorous education training program or something like that, and you became, you've developed a great deal of understanding about all of the different topics and topics, categories, genres of different things relating to research, science, whatever. Right? You have this extensive knowledge of a variety of different things. Right? Of course, the vast majority of you watching this are probably you probably don't really think too deeply about these kinds of things. You probably aren't you probably haven't been trained to this type of level, right? You probably don't have any type of extensive knowledge on anything, right? So majority of you would go onto YouTube, you find some type of video and some pseudo intellectuals giving you some type of information, right? You don't have any type of way of dissecting and analyzing what he's saying properly, right? To see if what he's stating and claiming and saying is actually factual, right? And what I've noticed on YouTube and stuff like that is, especially this is in regards to dieting and nutrition. A bunch of people, they would cite research, and then now they're trying to convince you that what they're saying is true, right? They'll show you a bunch of different studies, but unless you're from some type of academic background, right? But you wouldn't have any way of knowing if these studies are actually compelling or if they're actually even factual and not just some type of propaganda tool, right? This is kind of what the big problem is with misinformation and YouTube videos and not being able to kind of see things properly and see the actual truth, right? It's extremely difficult, right? Again, unless you're from some type of academic background, unless you went through all of the proper training and you've developed this type of extensive knowledge, right, of the world and stuff, and you can see and analyze things and you can kind of compare what's true and what's false and not true and stuff. Unless you can do that, it's just you're going to probably be led astray at a lot of different times in your life, right? Especially if you're extremely gullible and you just kind of take in what anyone gives you and stuff, presents to you, right? Shows to you, and so you just kind of take it in and you don't really analyze it, you don't internalize it, you don't kind of dissect and compare all of the parts, all of the statements, all of the the assertions and stuff like that. You just kind of get naively manipulated and stuff. And this is not good, right? Again, YouTube is just one example, right? You come across a bunch of different videos, right? How are you supposed to, and these videos, let's just say they relate to something to do with science or some, some type of higher, some type of more serious topic like that, right? Unless you're from some type of academic background, unless you already have some type of extensive knowledge, the information found in these various different videos on, videos on YouTube, right? Relating to, serious topics, you would never be able to kind of know if the information found in these videos is factual or fictional, or is fabricated and made up, or some type of propaganda. You have to, because the vast majority of us don't have any type of extensive knowledge on anything in this world, right? When I say extensive knowledge, let's just say, you have this type of discipline in science, right? Biology and stuff. let's say the vast majority of us aren't going to be reading the whole, like, entire encyclopedias on biology and stuff like that, right? We're not going to be going through like decades and decades of training to do with biology and stuff, right? We're just gonna, like, a lot of us don't, we just kind of, see, like, and read a few things here and there, right? And that's it. Yeah, extensive knowledge is kind of crucial, but developing some type of extensive knowledge on any type of topic or a subject, a particular subject, is extremely tiresome and frustrating and difficult, and that's why most people don't do this. Right? They don't go through years and years of training to develop this type of knowledge base that they could use to kind of to see the world properly and stuff. But, again, to bring it all the way back to what I was originally saying, right? Facts versus fiction, right? When you come across any, like, a bunch of different YouTube videos and they're telling you something, how would you be able to know what they're saying is true? And you can say, well, it seems compelling, but unless you have extensive knowledge on the related topics to those videos, right? Unless you know what they're actually properly talking about, right? Unless you have some type of background knowledge, this extensive knowledge, right? You would never be able to kind of tell if they're giving you the truth and stuff, right? Most of us are just kind of, we're not really deep researchers, right? We're not really, we don't really think scientifically in a lot of different cases. We're just kind of, especially, again, I use YouTube, right? That's just one example. Books as well. Let's just say you have a personal library. The information found in your collection of books, how would you be able to tell it's factual? And you could say, well, it matches what a lot of other people are claiming and saying, right? It corresponds to, like, a lot of the different sciences that people agree on and stuff. So this is how I know the information found in this particular book is factual. Are you sure about that? You don't know let's just say the author of that book that you're reading from and stuff, right? You don't have any type of background knowledge on him, right? You don't personally know him. You don't know what type of agendas he had in his mind when he was writing the book you're reading from and stuff. And you could have just presented all of his information in a very attractive way, but you don't know if it's factual or it's just fictional, something that he just personally made up. And this is what I'm really trying to get at, right? Facts versus fiction, right? It's nearly, unless you have some type of extensive knowledge of the world, right? Some massive understanding of the world, unless you've been reading and literally reading entire encyclopedias your entire life, right? You would never tell the truth from the fiction, right? You'd never be able to tell if someone's kind of tricking you or if he's just kind of being informative, and a lot of people would argue, well, isn't that like kind of schizophrenic and stuff like that, right? Like, why would these various YouTubers try and spread out misinformation and false information and essentially nonsense? Why would they do that? Why would they try and trick you and con you and stuff like that? Of course, you can say, this is kind of reasonable, right? I don't believe that, the YouTubers on the internet, they're trying to con and trick you, right? Whichever YouTubers you have in mind, right? But still, you have to understand, like, their information. You shouldn't just take it in and assume it's factual, not fictional. You have to analyze it. You have to dissect everything properly and kind of think critically and stuff. That's all I'm saying, right? Likewise, with books, any type of book you're reading from, of course, you could say, why would the author try and trick and con me? How do you know let's just assume we don't know anything about this particular author, right? You don't know his own agendas, right? He could have some type of agenda. He might want to spread some form of his own ideology, right? Let's just say you're reading, like, stuff written by some type of Christian author, right? He's going to kind of package in his types of ideas and beliefs about his Christian faith, right? And that would kind of taint everything he has to say, right? You could say, no, it won't. Yes, it will, right? Because, he'll try and make it seem that, Christianity is a lot more favorable, right? Or he'll kind of paint it in a better light. Of course he will, right? This is demonstrably true, right? If you can even, like, kind of buy anything written by a Christian, right? And you'll see some type of bias in his writings and stuff. So you can see what I'm trying to say is true, right? Just because you have, like, access to information, it doesn't mean that type of information you have access to is true, right? It's not for all it could just be like some type of fabricated nonsense, like something just essentially propaganda made up, right? And it's extremely tricky, right? Unless you have a great deal of understanding of the world, right? Unless you have some type of extensive knowledge on this world, of this world, essentially, right? You would never be able to kind of tell facts from fiction, right? You would never be able to see the truth in what people are saying and stuff, in what they're presenting you and showing you through their different forms of essentially, I would say education, but also indoctrination, right? Because the way we get educated, we just get told a bunch of things, and we're kind of forced in like slight ways to kind of accept that this information as being true, right? We're not taught to kind of reject, let's just say history, right? We're taught that history happened the way that it happened, according to like this way that the teacher or whoever is teaching you, right? You get given this specific version of history, and so then you have to just accept it. If you kind of talk back against the teacher, you get kind of pushed. You get this resistance and stuff, this frustration and tension and stuff, and then that could lead to like a lot of different problems. So you at an early age, you can see like you're already kind of getting molded and indoctrinated and stuff, and this is not good, right? You have to be able to tell facts from fiction